The hottest pop culture stories of the day, like Blake Lively's driver is entering the chat, and we want to know what they said. Plus, Ryan Reynolds' rep defends him, and we have an exec from the movie calling Justin Baldoni a moron in an email. This is Hot to Go. I'm Brittany.
I'm Colleen.
And I'm Mike.
And Blake Lively's driver.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. I think you pointed this out earlier. We had some idea about that he had said something like he was not keen on Justin Baldoni and didn't want Blake Lively hanging out with that guy, but we didn't know the whole story. So a deposition has been released or leaked that involves Blake Lively's driver, and he's talking about a time that he drove Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and one other passenger. His name is Kevin Alexander, and in this deposition, he says the following. He says that ride with Justin Baldoni in the car left him unsettled and unable to focus on the task of driving, which that's a pretty big statement right there. Well, I do want to add, he tells you later in the deposition that he didn't actually know who Justin Baldoni was until he got out of the car. So he was paying attention to what Justin Baldoni was saying without knowing that the significance of who this human being was to Blake Lively. And then after the fact, because he'd overheard this conversation, he said, listen, I got to do a background check on that guy. Like, I don't want you near him. I don't like him. He's setting off all my alarms. And she was like, oh, well, he's the director of the movie. So here's what he says he overheard while he was driving. He said Justin Baldoni was discussing his sexual relations with women. He says he can't forget the conversation because it, quote, took my focus off driving. To me, it was very out of the ordinary to meet somebody who would talk like this in a vehicle, and that's why it caught my attention. He says Justin Baldoni said that he was forced on, and he forced himself on women. He said basically he kept on talking about his sexual relations. I'm repeating myself, I believe, but he would force himself on women. If they said no, then he would revert back. He said he talked about some other stuff during the ride, but he was so upset by what he had heard, he stopped listening. He said it was incredibly disturbing. And that when they pulled up to the production office and let everybody out, he said, I stated to Blake, I feel very uncomfortable. Something is not right here. I would like to do a background check on him or something. And then he learned that he was the producer of the production.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Not great. Like you said before, they had alluded that the driver went to a place of like, I don't want Justin Baldoni alone with Blake Lively. In this, we had never gotten the full story. And now with all this stuff coming out, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I believe that this man heard all of that. Now, I do have to add that Justin Baldoni was playing the actor of Atlas, and it ends with us. It ends with us.
He was playing, he played Ryle.
Yes, Ryle.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Ryle. I'm so sorry. You're right. He played Ryle. And there's all this conversations around Justin Baldoni had admitted that in his past, he had been sexually assaulted by women who he had been dating. And he was like, this is really hard for me to play the aggressor because I've only been on the other side of it. And he'd been making the rounds kind of saying this. Now, I'm not saying that this was the conversation that was had in the car. I feel like, honestly, this driver was impacted and he heard what he heard correctly. Mm-hmm. But there is this other thing going on. Justin Baldoni was called a moron by a Sony exec in an email because Justin Baldoni was making the rounds, doing interviews, talking about what It Ends With Us was really about. Now, trigger warning, I'm going to be saying, talking about sexual assault and things that happened in this book. There is a scene where Ryle tries to push himself onto the main character played by Blake Lively. And in this interview, Justin Baldoni says, for me, what the scene was more about was Ryle feeling like he had lost all power and feeling so insecure and jealous that the only way his mind in his mind that he could show her how much he loved her. And I won't say the word that we used in developing it, was essentially to force any love she had out of Atlas out of her. And he was kind of insinuating that there was a scene where there was a sexual assault of forcing of himself on Blake Lively's character. Mm-hmm. To which the execs was like, he can't be out here talking about that. And it's funny because now everybody thought this was the smoking gun of like, see, even the exec thinks he is a problem. But most of the comment section is going, this is just more proof that he might have been the only person on the project that read the book.
Interesting. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Here's the other thing, and I don't mean to make an excuse for him, and I'm not.
No.
I'm really not making an excuse for him. But then I say but, so it does sound like I'm making an excuse. What I hear when I hear that interview is an actor getting into the weeds talking about the process of acting.
Yeah.
And that is not appropriate. That's not what people want to hear when they're asking questions in an interview situation. So to me, first of all, all of that may very well be true, and it's very disturbing, and there's a lot wrong with what he said. And also, I also think it's a case of somebody getting deep into the weeds, talking about the development and motivation of a character.
Yeah.
That is not what we are typically privy to when we're asking questions of an actor or a director, right?
Yeah.
So it's bad, but then it's also just bad. Does that make sense?
No, I think you're right. And it's funny because I was like, this would be a great conversation with somebody. Like if you were at a dinner with him and you'd both read the book and being like, what do you think the motivations were? And like him maybe having his guard down and talking. But you're right. For an interview, this is a little bit too, like you said, in the weeds is like the nicest way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not PR. It's not PR friendly at all.
No, because you take that clip out and you're like, literally the conversation is, oh, this is why that person sexually assaulted that person. Like there's a reason behind it.
It's bad. It's not good.
And this is just another example, though, of how both sides are using the same conversations as this is good for us, this is good for you. Because remember, we are 3 days away from same senior Sony executives calling her a bleeping terrorist.
Yeah,
that's true.
She was called that by Andrea Giannetti, who is a Sony executive. So again, now we're just using the headlines of Sony executives are taking this side, Sony executives are taking that side. It's just, like Brittany has said 1,000 times, both sides think they are absolutely correct in this manner. They don't think they did anything wrong.
Yeah.
No.
And we are definitely circling the drain with this thing.
Oh, so much so.
Yeah.
And then we now finally have something, and I don't know, good or bad. I definitely think this shows you the state of the state. Ryan Reynolds reps have come out and talked about his part in it. And I did not see that coming.
No.
I think that, and I'll give you the statement, but I think this actually indicates how much, again, they believe like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively think they are right, and the fact that how much they are stressing when they actually are responding to things. As we know, we had a kind of a little like insight into Ryan Reynolds writing emails and writing even the author of the book, Colleen Hoover. So the rep said he saw his wife fighting daily to stand up against sexual harassment in a private and respectful way, only to face retaliation for doing so. If anything, Ryan feels like he wasn't angry enough. He passionately believes in and will stand up for the basic right to a safe workplace, free of harassment and retaliation of his wife and others, then, now, and always.
So basically, it's like he did what any good husband would do.
Yeah.
And came to her defense and involved himself in the conversation.
Yeah, they're really trying to play that like, if anything, he feels the only regret he feels, like our client feels no regret. Quit bringing up regret. And they're like, we didn't. Is that something you're feeling? Like it really is a projection moment of like, if anything, he should have done more.
Yeah.
And I have seen people push back saying, oh, your husband who, jumped into this, a movie he has nothing to do with, he's not producing, he's not whatever. But I will just say in a very rare defense of Ryan Reynolds in this manner, he also is a pretty influential person in the world of movie making.
Right.
So it's not like it's exactly apples to apples to, somebody running into your defense that is from a completely different industry.
Well, and we're in the phase too right now across the board.
Yeah.
The only choice anybody has right now is to try to salvage their careers.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say the two who have the lightest lift to try to save their careers, frankly, are Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, because they came in hotter already. Do you see what I'm saying?
1,000%.
So, but we're just watching it in real time. We're just watching them defend themselves in real time.
Yeah. I wonder if even having a statement was the right move for Ryan Reynolds at all. But like you said, it's not exactly, they don't have much on the line. Like for them, Ryan Reynolds has his next probably 5 years of movies already planned out.
So here's the real truth is the public has a really short memory.
Yeah.
The problem right now is this has been drawn out for years and with no end in sight, right? We have a date on the books, but even the judges have been like, we have real things that we're trying to deal with here. So also please figure this out. So, but this is just going to drag on and on and on. And the more stuff that comes out, the more I'm sure they're like, okay, well, the fire is hot. The fire is roaring right now. This could go away in no time if everybody would just go, you know what? Let's settle this on the side and move forward. The public would forget about it. And it might take a while, but the more they fight it, the more we're not going to forget. And
I asked my nephew, Finn, who's 15 and loves Deadpool, I was like, has this painted anything? And he goes, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, do you live in the world, Finn?
Finn, you're supposed to be our movie reviewer. You're supposed to have a finger on the pulse. I know we don't pay you, but read a paper. Or listen to our show. Listen to your auntie's show.
To Auntie Brittany.
So yeah, I was really surprised. I was like, does this make you feel any sort of way about Ryan Reynolds? And he didn't know about the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I went,
well, I think, and actually I think that is more people probably fall in that category.
Agreed.
And so they could still very much all of them could salvage their careers.
Yeah. I think you're right. Especially Ryan Reynolds. I mean, he's got the franchise that will keep going. He'd be fine. Okay. Well, that is your Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Again, we are only bringing you it to if it is absolutely worth bringing to you. But otherwise, we will walk away from them for a while. And we've got Ariana Grande. She was going through her looks, her iconic looks. And one of those things was she used to wear these giant, huge oversized hoodies with sleeves that were a good foot past her hands. In fact, it was such a meme that people would be like, oh, Ariana Grande making a Thanksgiving dinner, and it was dipping it into gravy because it was always you can't do anything with sleeves that long.
Yeah, she did kind of look like a cat burglar, a lot.
A lot of times. Also, it's did you steal that sweatshirt? Doesn't fit you. And she's going through it, and they're like, this is one of your most iconic eras in 2018 when you were everybody was copying your oversized sweatshirts. And it came out, she's like, this was a very strange time in my life. I was processing a lot. Now, as we know, her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Mac Miller, had died from an accidental drug overdose. She's kind of comes out and is like, this look was pretty much because I was depressed. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to hide away, and I didn't. It was between that and I was like, I would wear these giant sweatshirts, and then these boots was my way of being yep, I'm still a pop star. So it was almost it looked like she was doing the walk of shame most of the time because she just had these insane high, tall, two over the knee boots with a big sweatshirt. And she was like that.
It was just the best she could do.
The best she could do.
It's like pop star version of soft pants.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I was like, you're wearing a heel. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's funny because she's like, it's just sometimes those looks all come from some raw emotion. You look back and go, oh, that was a mechanism that you were dealing with. That's the way it transformed.
Well, and when you think of, I don't know, sometimes I think about Ariana Grande. There was a story the other day about one of the Oscar voters saying that one of the reasons why Wicked for Good didn't get a lot of nominations was because people were really kind of turned off by these are their words, the weird way that Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande interacted, and they were like, we just couldn't tolerate more of that. Yes, exactly. The finger holding. There was one moment where I can't remember who it was, but I think it was like one of the directors or somebody in the production grabbed Ariana's arm and like shook it, and then Cynthia Erivo like grabbed the arm back and hugged it. It was just like very strange. But one of the things that we forget about Ariana Grande, because she's grown and she's such a different person now, is all the things she went through in like such a compact period of time.
Yeah.
Between Mac Miller, and then there was of course the bombing at her concert. Then she was, had the engagement with Pete Davidson, which a lot of people had a lot of opinions about. Then there was, this is like minor, but the donut licking event, which I'll never forget. I
thought donut was her?
That was her. She was the donut licker.
Oh.
Yeah. And then there was Stinky Barbecue Finger. Like, there was just a lot.
She had a lot happen to her child star, Nickelodeon, in a time where...
not to mention Dan Snyder of it all.
Dan Snyder of it all. We look back, and there's times they were dumping weird liquids on her and making her do weird little kid voices while she's getting things dumped on her.
Yeah, so there's all the things we knew, and then all the things we didn't know. And I don't think she's a fragile person, but I do think she is a person who...
Guarded.
She's guarded, and we don't remember when we see her, and we see her talent, and we see what she's done with this role. She is every version of herself. The rest of us are seeing just who's in front of us.
I think you're so right. There was an interview she did, Ariana Grande, we're talking about, and kind of like people look at her and go quirky or weird. Also, she's a theater kid.
Yeah, total.
There is a specialness to theater kids in the way that they bond, and it's actually kind of endearing if you have any theater kid in your life to watch Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo interact. You're like, that is the most theater kid thing.
Yes.
Is like everything is sacred. There was an interview that Ariana Grande did. It had been after Mac Miller had died, and she had this beautiful home in these chairs that all were chewed up, and they were probably like $1,000 chairs that had all the handles were chewed up. And she's like, so I rescue a lot of dogs, and Mac Miller's dog I got to acquire, and it loves to chew the handles, and I don't know how to care. And I was like,
How relatable is you can have the best things in the world, and you go, at the end of the day, this dog represents something that I love very much, and they're going to chew away. And I'm like, it felt very her, like that combination of the high-low of it all. Okay, well...
It's hot to blow.
At this point, we turn to our producer extraordinaire, Mike Ganger, the blind item expert. What secret on the internet might be the next to blow?
We are going to head to the Chanel Spring and Summer 2026 Haute Couture Show.
Oh, I was hoping I'd be invited.
Same.
Wonderful.
And we're going to make a stop there because there are a couple of stories that are rumbling around the blind items that I think is delectable for the two of you to digest. Are you ready?
Yes. Ready to digest.
Hit the runway.
We will begin with the first one where, according to sources, Margaret Qualley was talking while she was there and never quite had anything nice to say about one Taylor Swift.
Whoa.
Fearless.
Now, for those who don't know, Margaret Qualley, of course, the wife of Jack Antonoff, who is a longtime producer with Taylor Swift.
Collaborator.
BFF.
Most recently, though, we heard from Margaret Qualley when she was asked randomly on like the Today Show, what do you think of Taylor's new album, Life of a Showgirl?
And this is before the album came out.
Yes. To which she was like, I don't really know anything about it because he didn't obviously work with her on that. That's when she went to Sweden and worked with Max Martin and Shellback. So again, that's the last time we really kind of put Margaret Qualley and Taylor Swift together in a conversation. Well, now it sounds like she was maybe talking some smack behind the scenes.
Ooh. Okay, but here's the thing about Margaret Qualley. She always seems like she's kind of shady when she talks.
That's true.
Like it's definitely a vibe, a very like I think she might be millennial age, but she gives Gen Z off where she doesn't always open her mouth all the way and is kind of looking around if she should be somewhere else while she's talking to people.
Which I kind of like.
Just made it into millennial, 94.
But does she not give that like I'm not emotionally ready to talk to anyone right now.
I think I have somewhere to go.
I think, am I supposed to be over there right now? Okay, bye.
I will look forward to some of those quotes.
Oh, yeah.
When they become available.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the unfortunate. I mean, this is truly a blind item from the sense of these are whispers on the inside of what's been happening. But that's the beauty of blind items. Sometimes they call it first.
Do we think there's any bad blood?
I see what you did there.
Between Jack Antonoff and Taylor Swift? Because that would be heartbreaking. Like, Margaret Qualley owes Taylor Swift nothing. And vice versa. Like, I don't know how much they are around each other. He did help produce Midnights, though.
And I will say, I do think that's kind of what this is alluding to, is this is a sign that things might not be great between Jack and her. I think that's the more important takeaway from this. If his wife is literally just talking smack about her.
He gave us, with the combination of working with Taylor, Folklore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Evermore.
During the pandemic. To that, I'm like, this is a holy unity. Like, this can, anytime you'd be mad at each other, I would send the album.
Yeah.
We made this. Like, we made this beautiful thing together.
Yeah.
So, like, we could never go wrong.
Well, and here's what, this is my, I know nothing, but I would like to have an opinion anyway.
Please.
From what we saw of her conversation with Blake Lively on text, when Blake was like, something feels weird between us. And she was like, you're not wrong, Taylor Swift. And then she like handled it beautifully.
Yeah.
I feel like Taylor Swift is probably very honest with Jack Antonoff about what's going on. You know, if there is a schism in their relationship, I'm sure it's been talked about.
Yeah.
So Margaret Qualley might have some opinion about it, but I am sure that if there is, to your point, bad blood between the two of them, it has been hashed out. It's not like passive aggressive.
I wonder, Jack Antonoff gives off vibes of please don't bring me to a Chiefs game. I wonder now.
Interesting.
If her fiance, Taylor Swift's fiance, Travis Kelce, now does retire and he's retired, maybe he'll come back in the picture because he's like, now I'm not at risk for having to go to a Chiefs game.
Now I don't have to go to a game.
I don't believe he's retiring. But I will just say, the Eras Tour docuseries you both watched.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was notable that Jack Antonoff was nowhere near the entire project.
Absolutely.
He was not seen once during that entire project. Wasn't
you're
alluded
right.
to,
Wasn't even talked to.
Wasn't talked about. That is another thing there's a little smoke where this fire is potentially brewing.
And he has, I just don't want them to be.
I know you don't.
I will say this. He has taken on a lot of his own music lately.
Mm-hmm. And there might be bad blood between the two of them, and it might just not be end of our business. I'm just saying.
No, there is no bad blood. They made Folklore. They made Evermore.
And we get to have that forever, Brittany. We get to have it forever.
You ever watch the clip of them creating Getaway Car together, and they're so excitable?
Yeah.
Those two people could never fight.
Brittany's taking the rest of the week off. She's
going to need to process this. It's okay.
I haven't done a lot of full weeks in January, so this is a long week already. So I'm really glad that you were acknowledging that. Thank you.
Good job, Britt.
It's hot mess.
Oh, Colleen, we are back to a place of Dax Shepard.
I have secondhand embarrassment for Dax Shepard for the question that he asked. I believe it was incredibly lazy of my boyfriend, Marcelo Hernandez. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that because it turns out I am not Marcelo Hernandez's girlfriend.
Because you're not an architect. Or what is it? Or what does she do? She's
an architect.
Yeah. That's the one thing you don't have. Yeah.
Right. So Dax Shepard was trying to ship Marcelo, oh my gosh, too many names. Marcelo Hernandez with Sabrina Carpenter on his podcast. And he was like, hey, you guys had really good chemistry. If I were you, I'd be trying to date her so hard. And Marcelo Hernandez was like, yeah, but I already have a girlfriend and she's beautiful and she's bright and she's an architect and she went to Yale. And Dax Shepard was like, oh shoot, whoops.
My bad. And it's so funny. You're right. The main crime here is how lazy Dax Shepard is, because he actually was going on a big tirade prior to that question. And he was going, I just recently discovered Sabrina Carpenter. What?
Congrats. Welcome to Earth.
Right? And he's like, I love her short and sweet album. Honey, that's not even her latest album. Like Man's Best Friend has came out and that wasn't even that recent. So you've done so little to acquire this fandom. And then you're like, you deduce it to, You should probably marry her because I've enjoyed her concerts with my daughters.
And you guys were hilarious together on Saturday Night Live.
And
like that's all he's going on.
And again, like I get it as like average day. People were like, oh, they are cute together. And we were like, wow, that would be fun together. We don't have Marcelo Hernandez on our podcast. If we did, I promise you the bare minimum, we'd be like, is he dating anybody? Should we look into that?
Yeah. Or if you weren't able to find that information, maybe before you try to ship him with, I don't know, one of the biggest pop stars.
Yeah.
You might say, hey, you dating anybody? Because then it gets awkward. And now Sabrina Carpenter is in this narrative that she didn't ask to be in either.
Yeah.
And then I just feel terrible for Marcelo's girlfriend. Like, it's just all bad.
He repped her so hard. I will say that. If I was Marcelo's girlfriend, I'd be feeling pretty good about myself.
Yeah.
He was like, shh, this is her career. This is where she went to school. She's gorgeous. I'm in love with her.
Yeah.
Sabrina's cool too.
Yeah, she's
like,
great.
In the same breath. And I'm like, okay, Marcelo,
he handled it beautifully. Like, I actually am obsessed with how he handled it.
This is another example again of how Dax Shepard can get away with anything, because his quote was, I went to her concert with my daughters. If I was 18, I'm going to try to date her with all my might.
Yeah.
Are you trying your hardest to marry her? That's how he worded it.
That's so awkward. Also, the way he centers himself and everything, I can't even talk about it. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Hey guys, you also think Dax Shepard's the worst? Or do you love him? Either way, comment, because we are on the YouTube and we want to hear all your opinions.